Hello everyone. Welcome to the first part of our Java multithreading series. Today we are starting with very basics, creating and running threads. And then we will discuss about some common interview questions. So what is a thread? A thread is a lightweight process and it's a unit of execution within a program. In Java, every application has at least one thread, the main thread. So if you are seeing my screen, you can see there is a main method, and whenever I run the main method, a main thread will be started. So the name of the thread is main thread. Wonderful. Now we will have a look on how we can create a thread. In Java, we can create thread by either extending the thread class or implementing the runnable interface. This is how you can create a thread by extending the thread class. I have created a custom class which extends the thread, and I am overriding the run method, and I am writing my logic inside the run method. Whenever this thread is called, this particular operation will be executed. Similarly, another way of creating a thread is implementing a runnable interface. Whenever you implement a runnable interface, the compiler will ask you to override the run method and write your logic inside that run method. This is what we have done, and we have created a class which can be used to create threads and run threads. Now we have a small demo. As you can see, there are various ways in which we can create and start a thread. We have defined our classes which are extending and implementing the thread and runnable respectively. Now we will see how we can use the classes to create our objects and start the thread. So the first one is just create the object of the custom thread class and call the start method. This will execute and call your custom logic that you have written here. Similarly, second way of creating a thread and starting a thread is calling the runnable interface. The runnable interface object, the runnable interface was implemented by my custom class, which is my runnable, and we have overridden the run method. Now we are creating the object of that class and starting the thread. This is how we are doing it. We are passing the object of the custom class that is implementing runnable interface inside the thread, and we are creating an object of thread named as thread1. Then we are calling the start method on it. This will also start the thread. Third way is anonymous runnable interface. Here we are not going to the custom runnable interface that we have implemented here. Rather, we are implementing the interface anonymously, and we are writing our logic here itself. You can use either the custom class that you have written and implemented the runnable interface, or you can move the whole logic in the anonymous implementation of the runnable interface, and you can start the thread. And finally, we can create the object of the thread using lambda expression. If you look closely, anonymous and lambda are quite similar. This is just a fancy way of writing an anonymous class. And you can start the thread like this also. We will run the main class and see the output. Now if you see, our output is thread 0 was running, then thread 1 was running, 2 and 3 all were running. If you see the output over here is 0, 1, 2 and 3, but this is not guaranteed. If you rerun the execution, you can see the output is not the same. The order of the output is not the same as the previous execution. Now thread 1 executed before thread 0. The serial is not guaranteed. To guarantee the serial, there are other mechanisms which we will discuss later in this series. Now moving to sleep and join threads. The sleep is a method to pause the currently executing thread for a given amount of time. So I have created a new thread which is anonymous implementation, and I am sleeping the current thread. So when you call the thread.sleep, it stops the execution. It stops the execution for given amount of time. So we have not discussed the concept of lock yet, but just for information, while calling the thread.sleep, it does not release the lock. If this thread has acquired some lock on some execution and you are calling the sleep method on the current thread, do not expect thread 4 to release the lock that it is holding. Famous use cases of thread sleep method is providing time buffer between some thread operations, or providing delay or wait in while some operation is executing. For example, you are polling at certain interval. You are trying to read something at a certain interval. So in that case, you can utilize the thread.sleep. In this example, we have called the thread.sleep for 1 second. Similarly, thread.join. Join is a method which makes the current thread wait until the thread on which join was called finishes, which means I'm starting a new thread, but I want this new thread to be executed after previous thread has finished its operation. In that case, we will call the join on the previous thread. And if you see, I have called the join on the previous thread. Once the previous thread has finished its operation, the current thread, which is thread 5, it starts executing. We will see the demo of this also. Okay, no matter how many times you run it, the execution is guaranteed because we are waiting for thread 4 to finish. So thread 4 is running after the sleep, then only the next thread, which is thread 5, is running. So this is about thread sleep operation and thread join operation. Now moving to the interview questions. Thread versus runnable. So thread is a class and runnable is an interface. It is just a different same question which is asked, like when to use an interface and when to use a class or abstract class. So you can use the same concept and apply here. Like whenever you want a multiple inheritance, use the runnable interface, and multiple inheritance is not the use case, then you can use the thread to create a new thread. Then you can say that we using runnable interface, we will have more usability than the thread class. Now moving to the second question, what is the difference between start and run methods in a thread? So start is whenever a start method is called, it creates a new thread. It starts a new thread. And whenever a run method is called, it just executes the run method of the current executing thread. So it is not recommended to call the run method directly, which answers our third part. So in our next video, we will go deeper into thread lifecycle and states and show how threads behave under the hood. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe if you found this helpful. Code is in the description below. Thank you.